And climate change, world climate and its classification. Fig, climatic regions of the world. Hot, wet equatorial climate. Located up to 5 degrees and 10 degrees north and s of the equator in the lowlands of the Amazon, the Congo, Malaysia, and the East Indies. Away from the equator, the influence of the onshore trade winds gives rise to a modified type of equatorial climate with monsoonal influence. Climate. Z temperature. Uniformly high throughout the year with average monthly temperatures above 180 C, mean annual temperature around 200 C. Z cloudiness and heavy precipitation help to moderate the daily temperature. Z precipitation, heavy and well distributed throughout the year, with average above 200 to 250 centimeters, mostly convectional rain and orographic rainfall in mountains. Z no distinct dry season, very high relative humidity, greater than 80%. Z double rainfall peaks coincide with the equinoxes in April and October. Vegetation tropical evergreen rainforest, lungs of the planet with dense canopy cover, selvas in Amazon. E.g. mahogany, ebony, creepers, epiphytes and woody climbers like lianas, low-lying tallgrass. Z distinct layer arrangement in forests. Z high diversity. Trees are not found in pure stands of a single species. Economic activity. Z sparsely populated area with primitive people practicing hunting and gathering. Z shifting cultivation is practiced here. Ladang, Malaysia, Tonga, Burma, Tamari, Thailand, Kangin, Philippines, Huma, Java, China, Sri Lanka, Milpa. Africa and Central America, Jum, Northeast India. A less luxuriant secondary forest called Belukar is also found. Z tropical hardwoods make lumbering difficult. Z cocoa industry, Ghana, Nigeria, and natural rubber and oil palm, Malaysia and Indonesia, thriving here. Z crops like coconuts, sugar, coffee, tea, tobacco, spices, and sago are cultivated. Z Congo, cobalt reserves, gold mining in the Amazonian forests of Brazil and Peru. Z livestock farming in Africa is handicapped by tsetse flies that cause Ngana, a deadly disease. Tribes, Pygmies, Congo Basin, Orang Asli, Malaysia. Tropical monsoon. The region witnesses complete seasonal reversal of winds. Best developed in the Indian subcontinent, Burma, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, parts of Vietnam, and South China and northern Australia, 50 to 300 N and S of the equator. 44 World climate and climate change. Trade winds after crossing the equator are drawn towards the continental low-pressure area reaching the Indian subcontinent as the southwest monsoon. Climate. Z temperature. Average monthly temperature, 180 C. Maximum temperature can reach 450 C. Average temperature in summer is around 300 C and during winters is around 250 C. Z seasons, cool, dry season, October to February. The hot dry season, March to mid-June. The rainy season, mid-June to September. Concentrated heavy rainfall in summers. Mean annual rainfall is about 150 centimeters, but there are temporal and spatial variations. Vegetation. Z dry deciduous forests with broad-leaved hardwood trees, e.g. teak. Z less luxuriant than tropical forests with fewer species. Economic activity. Z supports high population density. Z subsistence farming with intensive cultivation in regions with irrigation facilities. Z shifting cultivation is followed in Northeast India and Southeast countries. Z agriculture, wet paddy cultivation, lowland cash crops, sugarcane, jute, indigo, cotton, highland plantation crops, tea, coffee, spices. Z cattle and sheep rearing prevalent. Tropical marine climate. Climate is under the influence of the onshore trade winds all the year round. Experienced along the eastern coasts of tropical lands, Central America, West Indies, Northeastern Australia, Philippines, parts of East Africa, Madagascar, Guinea Coast, and Eastern Brazil. Climate. Z rainfall. Rainfall, both orographic and convectional, is maximum in summer, but without any distinct dry period. Influence of onshore trade winds. Z prone to severe tropical cyclones, hurricanes, or typhoons. Vegetation. Rainforests, mangroves, and coastal vegetation. Constant moisture and warmth contribute to the growth of diverse plant species. Savanna or Sudan climate. Transitional type found between the equatorial forests and the trade wind hot desert. Best developed in Sudan, includes West African Sudan, East Africa and Southern Africa north of the Tropic of Capricorn. In South America, Llanos of Orinoco Basin, Campos of Brazilian highlands. Climate. Z temperature. Mean annual temperature is greater than 18 degrees Celsius, extreme diurnal range of temperature. Z rainfall. Alternate hot, rainy season and cool, dry season. Rainfall is concentrated in summer, floods and droughts are common. Mean annual rainfall 80 to 160 centimeters. Z winds. Prevailing winds are the trade winds. Trade winds bring rains to the eastern coasts but become dry by the time they reach the interiors of the continents. Harmattan, meaning the doctor, are the dry local winds which blow from interior Africa to the Atlantic coast in Guinea and gives relief from hot and humid climate by increasing the rate of evaporation with resultant cooling effect. Vegetation. Tall grass, elephant grass, and short trees, deciduous trees usually having broad trunks, with water-storing devices to survive, like acacia tree. Z grasslands are called bushveld or parkland. Z trees decrease in height and density polewards. Z as the rainfall diminishes towards the desert, the savanna merges into thorny scrub. In Australia, this scrubland is represented species, mallee, mulga, spinifex grass, etc. Z many trees are umbrella-shaped, exposing only a narrow edge to the strong winds. Z tall savanna grasses, elephant grass, have deep roots. It lays dormant during the cool, dry season. Wildlife. The savanna is known as the big game country as thousands of animals are trapped or killed each year. Two main groups of animals: grass-eating herbivorous animals and the flesh-eating carnivorous animals found. Tribes: Maasai, Kenya and Tanzania, Hausa, Nigeria. Desert climate. Deserts are regions of scanty rainfall that may be hot like the hot deserts of the Saharan type or temperate as are the mid-latitude deserts like the Gobi. World climate and climate change 45. Hot desert climate. Major hot deserts of the world are located on the western coasts of the continent between 15 degrees and 30 degrees north and S. The aridity of the hot deserts is mainly due to the effects of offshore trade winds, also called trade wind deserts. The Sahara Desert, Great Australian Desert, Arabian, Iranian, Thar, Kalahari, Namib, Mojave, Sonoran, Atacama Desert. Mid-latitude desert climates. Among the mid-latitude deserts, usually between 30 degrees and 50 degrees north and S of the equator, many are found on plateaus. Climate conditions in hot deserts, trade wind deserts. The average summer temperature is around 30 degrees Celsius. The rainfall, scarce, less than 25 centimeters and most unreliable. The aridity is high due to subtropical high-pressure belt, descending air, offshore trade winds, desiccating effect of cold current. The temperature, high throughout the year. Coastal deserts due to maritime influence have much lower temperatures. Desert interiors, however, experience much higher summer temperatures and winter months are rather cold. The diurnal temperature range is very great. Frost may occur at night in winters. Great Basin Canaries current. Atacama. Patagonian hot desert, temperate desert cold current. Benguela current, West Australian current. Turkestan. Arctic Circle. Australian. 15 degrees north. 15 degrees south. 30 degrees south. 45 degrees south. 30 degrees north. 45 degrees north. Sahara. Kalahari Arabian. Iranian. Namib. Thar. Gobi Californian current. Peruvian current. Equator. Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Cancer 30 degrees north. 45 degrees north. 15 degrees south. 30 degrees south. 45 degrees south. 15 degrees north. Mojave. Climate conditions in the mid-latitude deserts. They are cut off from the rain-bearing winds. Rainfall less than 25 centimeters. Occasionally depressions may penetrate the Asiatic continental mass or unexpected convectional storms may bring rain in summer and falls in winter. Rainless because of either continentality, Gobi Desert, or rain shadow effect, Patagonian Desert. Patagonian Desert is drier due to its rain shadow position on the leeward side of the lofty Andes than to continentality. Vegetation. Xerophytic/drought-resistant scrubs, grasses and plants. Most desert shrubs have long roots to gather moisture. Few or no leaves. Foliage is waxy, leathery, hairy, or needle-shaped to prevent moisture loss. Economy. Gold mining in Great Australian Desert, e.g. Kalgoorlie, Coolgardie, diamonds and copper in Kalahari, sodium nitrate extraction in Atacama. North American deserts, silver in Mexico, uranium in Utah, copper in Nevada. Oil exploration in Sahara and Arabian deserts, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Algeria, Libya, Lebanon, Nigeria, tribes, Bedouin, Arabs, Bushmen, Kalahari, Bindabu, Australia, Tuaregs, Sahara, Gobi Mongols. Gobi. Warm temperate western margin. Mediterranean climate. Confined to the western portion of continental masses between 30 and 45 degrees north and south of the equator. Basic cause of this type of climate is the shifting of the wind belts. Found in areas around Mediterranean Sea, central Chile, California, south, western tip of Africa, southern Australia and southwest Australia. Climate. Temperature. Monthly average in summer is around 25 degrees Celsius and in winter below 10 degrees Celsius. 46 World climate and climate change. Dry, warm summer with offshore trade winds, a concentration of rainfall in winter with onshore westerlies. Annual precipitation ranges between 35 to 90 centimeters. California. Central Chile, Western Cape, Southwest Australia, South Australia. Mediterranean Basin. Local winds around the Mediterranean Sea, Sirocco, hot, dry, dusty wind which originates in the Sahara Desert, most frequent in spring. Other names of Sirocco, Chile, Tunisia, Gibli, Libya, Lavesh, Spain, Khamsin, Egypt, Garbi, Adriatic and Aegean Sea. Mistral, cold wind from the north, rushing down the Rhône Valley intensified by the funneling effect in the valley between the Alps and the Central Massif Plateau in France. Bora, cold northeasterly wind in Adriatic Sea. Tramontana and Gregale, cold winds of Mediterranean Sea. Vegetation shrubs, Maquis, South France, Macchia, Italy, Chaparral, California, Mali, Australia, eucalyptus forests in Australia, and giant sequoias or redwoods in California. Species found include pines, firs, cedars. Bushes and shrubs are the most predominant type. Economic activity. World's orchard lands. Famous for citrus fruits, sun-kissed oranges, California, Seville oranges, Spain, Jaffa oranges, Israel, etc. Wine production. Viticulture is by tradition a Mediterranean occupation. Sherry. Wine from southern Spain, port wine, Portugal, Chianti, Asti and Marsala, Italy, Champagne, Bordeaux and Burgundy, France. Nut-bearing trees like chestnuts, walnuts, hazelnuts, and almonds. Cattle rearing. Mountain pastures, with their cooler climate, support sheep, goats and sometimes cattle. Transhumance is widely practiced, moving up and down the hills in search of pastures according to seasons. Temperate continental, steppe, climate. Lies in the westerly wind belt, but they are so remote from maritime influence that the grasslands are practically treeless between 40 degrees and 55 degrees north and s of the equator. They are known as steppe, Eurasia, Pustas, Hungary, prairies, North America, pampas, Argentina and Uruguay, bushveld, North-South Africa, highveld, Southern South Africa, Downs, Australia, Canterbury, New Zealand. Climate. Temperature. Seasonal variations with warm to hot summers, often exceeding 30 degrees Celsius, and cold winters. Extremes of temperature in Northern Hemisphere, steppe type of climate in the southern hemisphere is never severe, maritime influence, and winters are mild. Z precipitation, low annual rainfall 25 to 75 centimeters. The dry season is particularly pronounced in temperate grasslands adjoining desert. Summer rainfall maximum from convectional sources when continental interiors are heated. Winter rainfall lesser by occasional depressions of the westerlies. Maritime influence in the southern hemisphere, greater rainfall because of warm ocean currents. Z in prairies a local hot wind called the Chinook, also called snow eater, comes melting the snow-covered pastures. World climate and climate change 47. Vegetation. Z grasslands are practically treeless. Grass is nutritious, thus promoting livestock rearing in the region. Z grasses are not only shorter but also wiry and sparse. In arid areas like Asia's continental interiors, wiry grasses favor ranching over arable farming. Z moving polewards, increased precipitation results in wooded steppes, where conifers gradually appear. Economic activity. Extensive mechanized wheat cultivation, nomadic herding, pastoral farming, etc. Due to extensive, mechanized wheat cultivation, they are known as the granaries of the world. Warm temperate eastern margin. China type. It is a modified form of monsoonal climate, found on the eastern margins of continents in warm temperate latitudes. In summer, the regions are under the influence of moist, maritime airflow from the subtropical anticyclonic cells. Climate: warm moist summer and cool, dry winter. Strong maritime influence. Small annual temperature range. Z in summer, the regions are under the influence of moist, maritime airflow from the subtropical anticyclonic cells. Z rainfall throughout the year, 60 to 150 centimeters. Rainfall from convectional sources or as orographic rain in summer, or from depressions in winter. Z local storms, typhoons, tropical cyclones, and hurricanes also occur. Subdivided into three main types. Z China type, Central and North China, South Japan temperate monsoonal, great annual temperature range, rain in summer and winter, occurrence of typhoons in late summer. Z Gulf type, Southeastern USA slight monsoonal, no distinct dry period, occurrence of hurricanes and tornadoes. Z Natal type, Natal, Eastern Australia, Southern Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Northern Argentina, and all warm eastern temperate margins of Southern Hemisphere, dominance of maritime influence. Vegetation. Lush vegetation with evergreen broadleaved forests and deciduous hardwood trees in lowlands due to well-distributed rainfall all year round. Z conifer species like pines and cypresses in highlands. Z no dry or cold seasons, allowing uninterrupted perennial plant growth. Economic activity. Z warm temperate eastern margins are the most productive parts of the middle latitudes. Z world's greatest rice growing areas, warm wet and lowland favor rice cultivation. Z sugarcane, cotton, tobacco, maize, dairy products, etc. Z timber, economic value in China and southern Japan, oak, camphor, eucalyptus forests in eastern Australia, lowland deciduous forests in Gulf states of the USA. Manchuria grassland. Downs. Winnipeg. Prairies. Pretoria. Canterbury grassland. Temperate grassland. Warm ocean currents. Veldt. Chinook winds. Pampas. Puszta steppes. 48 World climate and climate change. Local wind southerly burster, cold wind in Australia, impacts New South Wales and Victoria. Pampero, cold dry wind in Argentina and Uruguay. Berg, hot and dry wind in South Africa, brings heavy precipitation to Natal, benefiting agriculture. Cool temperate western margin, British type. Found in Britain, Northwest Europe, British Columbia, USA, southern Chile, Tasmania, and most parts of New Zealand, between 40 degrees and 65 degrees latitude in the northern hemisphere. Climate. Z they are under the permanent influence of westerlies throughout the year. Z regions of frontal cyclonic activity, typical of Britain, and are thus said to experience the British type of climate. Z high maritime influence on temperature and precipitation. Z temperature. Mild winters and cool summers mean annual temperature 5 to 150 C. Z rainfall. Throughout the year, with a tendency towards a slight winter or autumn maximum from cyclonic sources. Z seasons are very distinct. Winter, short duration and mild due to warming effect of North Atlantic drift. Spring are driest. Summer and autumn vegetation. Z deciduous trees occur in pure stance. Z higher up the mountains deciduous trees shed leaves in winters to protect against snow and frost, are generally replaced by conifers. Z valuable temperate hardwood, oak, elm, birch, beech, poplar, willows, alder, aspen, etc. Economic activity. Z market gardening, mixed farming, sheep rearing, etc. Z fishing is important in Britain, Norway, and British Columbia. Z British type climate suitable for crops and dairy farming. Mixed farming in northwestern Europe with wheat, barley, and advanced dairy practices. Cool temperate eastern margin, Laurentian, intermediate type of climate between the British and the Siberian type that is found in only 2 regions, northeastern North America, eastern Canada, northeast USA and Newfoundland, and eastern coastlands of Asia, including eastern Siberia, North China, Manchuria, Korea, and northern Japan. Z in the southern hemisphere, this type of climate is absent. Climate. Z temperature. Features of both continental and maritime climate, cold, dry winters and warm, moist summers. Winter temperatures may be well below freezing point and summers are as warm as the tropics. Arctic offshore cold currents are instrumental in cooling the summer, otherwise it would have been even hotter. Z rainfall. 75 to 150 centimeters of rainfall distributed throughout the year with a maximum during summer. Northern Hemisphere. Rainfall distribution is uniform due to Atlantic influence and the Great Lakes, high temperatures in summer and snowfall in winters. Z Asiatic regions. Rainfall is far less uniform. The rainfall regime is similar to that of the tropical monsoon type in India. Japan receives adequate rainfall from both the southeast monsoon in summer and northwest monsoon in winter. Vegetation. Coniferous, north of 50° N latitude, and deciduous, south of 50° N latitude, oak, beech, maple, and birch are principal trees. Economic activity. Z lumbering important activity, agriculture is less important due to severity and length of winter. Z fishing, particularly in the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. The cool temperate continental climate. Siberian. Experienced only in the Northern Hemisphere, North America, from Alaska across Canada into Labrador, Europe and Asia, between 50° and 70° north and s of the equator. Climate. Z temperature brief, warm summers 20 to 25° Celsius, and long extremely cold winters, -30 to -40° Celsius, occasional violent cold polar winds, like Canadian blizzards and Eurasian boron. Z rainfall, relatively dry year-round, low annual precipitation mainly in the form of snow. World climate and climate change 49. Vegetation. Mosses, lichens and sledges in more sheltered spots, stunted birches, dwarf willows, hardy grasses and reindeer moss are found. Z tundra, taiga, boreal forest, and grasslands adapted to harsh conditions. Z conifers with adaptations like conical shape, thick needle-shaped leaves, and podzolized soils. Economic life. Z lumbering is the primary economic activity, utilizing vast coniferous forests, softwood logs transported downstream on rivers. Z paper and pulp industry, Canada and the USA. Z agriculture is challenging with limited crops due to extreme cold and short growing season. Arctic or polar or tundra climate. Found north of the Arctic Circle in the Northern Hemisphere and in the Southern Hemisphere in the continent of Antarctica, extremely cold with long winters, devoid of tall trees or forests. Climate. Z temperature, winters harsh, often below -37° Celsius. Summers brief with temperatures rarely exceeding 10° Celsius. Z precipitation, generally low, with limited moisture in the form of snow and occasional freezing rain. Summer maximum precipitation in the form of rain or sleet. Vegetation: tundra vegetation limited to hardy, low-growing plants, mosses, and lichens. Z. Permafrost restricts the growth of deep-rooted plants. Z. Coastal lowlands support hardy grasses and reindeer moss. Z. Brief summer bloom with the melting of snow, known as Arctic prairies. Inhabitants like Eskimos, Lapps, and Samoyeds lead a semi-nomadic lifestyle, residing in compact igloos during winter. VVV